Adam Schefter rejoining us. And if Adam, if I could ask you again, Roger Goodell in the league, when things like this happen, what do they do?
Well, Sage, sadly, we went through a situation very similar to this 2 years ago with the passing of Sean Taylor. And if you'll remember, the Washington Redskins went through that week of practice. They attended the funeral in the days leading up to their game against the Buffalo Bills, and they played with heavy hearts. They wore patches on their uniform that day, and you would imagine that the Cincinnati Bengals would undergo a similar process this week. It must be unbearable to be in those meeting rooms right now, to think that they just lost a teammate who was passed on so tragically and so sadly, and they now must concentrate and focus on the San Diego Chargers and the game ahead. The idea of that really seems disjointed and very hard to grasp and comprehend, but nevertheless the Bengals still have to find a way to go on with the job that they have to do this week while grieving over the loss of a former teammate, Chris Henry.
I'm sure we will hear something, some sort of statement from the league shortly here, and when we do, we'll bring it to you here on SportsCenter. Adam, if you could talk a little bit more about the Bengals, who obviously, as many may recall, suffered another tragedy earlier this season. Mike Zimmer, their defensive coordinator, suddenly lost his wife. Truly was considered a family member, part of this Bengals team. What did Marvin Lewis do then? How did he handle it then? And maybe what can he pull from that tough time to apply now today?
Boy, this has really been an emotionally draining season for the Cincinnati Bengals, because the toll that the Mike Zimmer experience took on everybody when his wife lost her life just a couple of days before they played a game was very traumatic on everybody and very emotional. And I remember they came out and played an inspired game that Sunday. And again, that seems so secondary now, considering the loss of a life here and the loss of a player. But again, somehow the Bengals, who have been through this before just about 6 weeks ago, must somehow summon the inner strength to go on and concentrate and focus at a time of tragedy. And this is going to hit home, and this is going to bring back reminders of what this team has gone through earlier this year. It is not going to be an easy situation. We've seen teams go through something like this perhaps once in a year, but to have to go through it twice so close together has got to be emotionally draining on everybody. And the fact that they've been through it once already, Sage, cannot make it any easier the second time to go through something like this again, particularly when it hits even closer to home, when it's a friend and somebody in that locker room who is so well liked.